the 90s, and now very, very bad for them. But you've got your jobs, export of jobs. You've got, Curtis has told us about the border, the lack of security. And nobody does anything about this in the upper echelons of our government. And the reason is, folks, there's a merger in the making. NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement, is the process, the foundation for something that was hatched or actually introduced here in Central Texas in 2005 called the Security and Prosperity Partnership, which is the impetus for a North American Union. Let me just give you a quote or two. This is from March of '05. Rafael Fernandez de Castro and Rosana Fuentes Herrera, editor of the Council on Foreign Relations, Foreign Affairs in Espanol, Foreign Affairs magazine, and by the way, is the official journal of that unelected General Assembly of the power elite in our nation, called the Council on Foreign Relations. They were very candid about this. In this article, the SPP, the Security and Prosperity Partnership of North America, should be working toward an eventual goal of a true North American Union. Vicente Fox, earlier in the decade, when he was president of Mexico, said that what they're seeking, so what we are seeking, is, quote, an ensemble of connections most closely resembling to that of the European Union. They have one flag, or a dominant flag, one currency, a parliament in Brussels. X number of formerly sovereign free nations have been absorbed, or in the process of being absorbed, in the bureaucratic maw known as the European Union. And folks, that is the plan, that is the model that they want to take the Western Hemisphere into. A man named Richard Gardner in 1974, writing for the Foreign Affairs Spring Edition of the Council on Foreign Relations, in an article called The Hard Road to World Order, basically posited there had to be two tracks towards global government. And he reviewed how since the 40s there had been this idea of taking several hundred nations of the world and plopping them down into one Procrustean bed. They made some headway on that, and they kind of stalled out. But he said a better thing to do would be to approach it by regionalism. And he gave the example, which was the European Community at that time, which later became known as the European Union, gave that example as the one to follow. And so they are following it. There are other combinations globally, but the North American Union is the most advanced, other than the EU itself. And then as you can take all these hundreds of nations and break it down to 12, let's say, so-called economic unions, and then you break it down some more, then it's 6, and then so on. You've got a combination or a setup just kind of like the book 1984. It was 3 nations, 2 of which always stayed at war with each other. Well, they want to go further than that. They want to break it down like 4 or 5 or whatever, and they put it under the United Nations. That's the goal. Take the world in bites. This is a conspiracy by the elite to rule the world, and they have so harnessed the power, prestige, and resources of our own government and that of some of our allied governments, and they work in tandem through various means with the leaders of the so-called former East Bloc socialist nations towards this evil purpose. Now, John Birch Society, among other things, exists to expose that, to disarm it, to dismantle it, to turn it around. And in a more positive vein, we also, we have a sick patient here known as the United States. We want to build up its immunities. We want to restore the Constitution, the system of checks and balances, the federalism, limitation of government. So these so that schemes of this nature cannot succeed in the future. We would have a continuous future of prosperity and freedom. But in order to do that, it's a tall order. We've got a lot of elements working in the other direction. But I know, and I'm convinced, just like my colleague here, Curtis, is that the North American Union, SPP, and its handmaid in the Trans-Texas Corridor is not the will of the American people or the Texas people. And you Texans here, we Texans, have shown that when we get mad and we put our foot down, Austin will listen. So there's been a 2-year moratorium on many elements of the Trans-Texas Corridor. On a federal level, we put our foot down and we told the Congress, what part of the no don't you understand, like a bad little child, the in or the O. And so amnesty didn't happen last summer, and Harry Reid had to pull the DREAM Act from the Defense Appropriations Bill. And so you can make a difference. But it takes organization, and it takes manpower. And that's why we're here tonight, to give you an opportunity to be part of a proven entity. The John Birch Society will be 49 years old in December. We offer you a bi-weekly periodical, The New American. It will inform you, keep you informed, and equip you to inform others. We offer you our national agenda and the monthly bulletin. And more importantly, we have local chapters led by volunteer leaders. There's one in Temple, one in Waco. Our section leader stands over them, and we have the nucleus of a chapter still in Lampasas. And the purpose of these chapters is to take this agenda and put it to work in grassroots Bell County, McLennan County, Lampasas County, Falls, wherever there are birchers, where we can organize it. We're supported by a tremendous and growing internet presence. We ain't seen nothing yet, the internet. We need you. We have membership applications at our literature table. We have good literature. It costs $99 for a couple to join the John Birch Society. You can pay that up front at any kind of means, or you can put it on a quarterly debit or credit card. The individual is $87. Again, on a credit card, quarterly or up front, check, cash, money order, whatever. We need your efforts now. All applications must be signed and approved by either a competent volunteer leader like Mr. Martin here, or a member of the staff like myself. So now is the time. The hour is late. The powers that be, President Bush and others, are moving straight ahead on the North American Union. They're being forced to deny there is such a thing, but the more they deny it, the more we know there is one. And so, ladies and gentlemen, in the words of the late founder of the John Birch Society, Robert Welch, come join us in this epic undertaking and in this proud companionship. And now Floyd Martin will close out. Thank you so much, Floyd.